It's been a night of horror for many. The US has struck more than 80 sites across Iran, describing it as punishment for attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is vowing a crushing response, sirens already going off in both Kuwait and Bahrain as American military sites are targeted. While over in Ukraine, people in Kiev have been enduring another night of Russian missile strikes there. It's the latest in a series of attacks on the Ukrainian capital that's killed dozens. Our US correspondent Mark Stone begins our coverage this morning.
Look, I think it's no coincidence at all that on two fronts, Iran and Ukraine, there has been some intense military activity just as NATO leaders gather for their annual summit in Ankara. In Ukraine first, clearly a very difficult night for the people of Kyiv as Russian air attacks rained down on Ukraine's capital. Very intentional timing by Vladimir Putin to send a message to NATO that he's very much still in this fight. And it comes as the consensus among Western nations seems to be right now that Ukraine has the upper hand. Trump told me a couple of weeks ago that he believes that Zelensky is a winner. The suggestion is that Putin is under an awful lot of pressure domestically, politically, economically, socially as well, with so many Russian soldiers being killed. The Russian economy, too, really struggling. And so for that reason, the sense is that Ukraine has the upper hand. And so, of course, Putin chooses a moment to hit at the very heart of Ukraine. Now, in Iran, an altogether different challenge. I think intentional messaging by both sides here. The Iranians reminding everyone that they can and they will, if they want to, control the Strait of Hormuz. 3 small attacks on commercial ships in the past couple of days. That prompted the overnight response by the Americans that a US official told me was, quote, punishment not proportional. President Trump is trying to nip this one in the bud, to send a message to Iran that this must end, because frankly, he needs it to end. Iran, by the way, is part of the discussion at NATO. The leaders of UAE, Bahrain, Qatar and Kuwait have all been invited. And so both Iran and the US are trying with this back and forth to exert their own dominance.
Let's bring in our Middle East correspondent Adam Parsons, who's in Jerusalem for us. And Adam, just bring us up to speed on what's happening in Kuwait and Bahrain. What's the Iranian response to all of this?
Well, Iran has said that it has launched around 85 attacks, missile attacks on Bahrain and Kuwait. We know that air defense sirens have been sounding there. We don't know the extent, the actual number of these attacks. There's sometimes a discrepancy, frankly, between the number of missiles Iran says it has sent and the number